Generally, the frame for an opening is 2¼ inches outside the air barrier, so as to hide the polystyrene 2 inches behind the masonry unit. The National Building Code also recommends keeping the thermal layer inside a warm wall between the 2x6 where the insulation is installed. In the case of a renovation, this is not always easy to do. For example, if the opening is only 1.5 inches outside the wall, another ½ inch of the polystyrene will still be visible once the units are installed. Therefore, we add a J aluminum soffit trim, standard trim available at hardware stores or bent by a tinsmith. If you do not have any accessories protruding around your opening, once the polystyrene panels are cut and installed, remove 3/4 inch from the cell ridge on each side of the opening. Make ½ inch deep channel over the full height of the opening using a heat gun. Insert the J trim and then install the units on top of it. The glue must never block the water drainage. The glue will be placed in the 2 upper corners of a cell directly on the polystyrene using a drop the size of a nickel. For a large stone, the glue will be placed in the 2 upper corners as well as in the center, in equal distance from the other 2 drops. When the unit is inserted, the glue will be crushed between the top, the protrusion of the stone, and the polystyrene ridge. We never install a unit that is smaller than the smallest unit on a pallet. For example, you have received Morrissey stone. The smallest unit will be 3¼ by 3¼ inches. You must not install any stone smaller than at 3¼ inch wide and 3¼ inch high. This means that if you have incomplete cells, it is possible to combine 2 cells by breaking the ridges so you can use a larger unit, a different format. If this is not possible, cut the unit with a guillotine. An incomplete polystyrene cell at the bottom of the wall cannot hold a stone. Once the polystyrene ridge is removed, apply the PL premium glue at the top of the cell depending on the size of the stone. Then, insert the unit and wedge it with spacers. Spacers are provided with the packages of polystyrene panels. The spacers are removed during the mortar application. For cutting the units, we strongly recommend that you do not saw them, but rather break them with a guillotine. Breaking a unit with a guillotine generates little dust, which means that your stone or brick will not get dirty, and the mortar will adhere better to the broken surface, which is not the case for a sawed surface. However, it is impossible to make an L-cut with a guillotine. You will use a saw with a diamond blade. You will make a first cut on the front, 1/8 inch deep. A second cut on the back, 3/4 inch deep. And then you will hit the front of the unit, which will break along the grooves and will give you a broken part in the center that is very porous. The mortar will adhere to this adequately. Masonry must never come into contact with thermal flexible elements. Leave a minimum of 1/8 inch space for the application of caulking. Vinyl, Connexel, aluminum, wood, fiberglass, asphalt shingles, rafters, tiles, taps, and electrical fixtures are all thermal flexible elements. You will have to change them eventually, and the heat will cause them to expand, and the cold will cause them to contract. Caulking is very flexible, mortar is not. 3-inch nails along the polystyrene panels are very useful, since they are light and can be reused. If you nail them into the polystyrene ridges, they do not break anything, and they are easy to remove once the glue has dried. They are nailed into the polystyrene panel at the top of a unit that does not stay in place even when glued.